Spook.
Yes!
It's good to be back in the old finals gear.
No, you're right, Sly. It's great to be back in the finals gear. What is that shit song?
Welcome to the Collingwood Rant. I am Sly.
And I am the final spook. What is that shit song?
We are finals bound after a scrappy but courageous win against the Fremantle Dorkers over at their, whatever their ground's called.
Shithole Stadium.
Yep, something like that. Quickly, in 2 words or less, what did you think of the win?
It's like playing Monopoly and being given the get out of frail. Get out of frail.
Oh,
Get out of jail free card.
that's more than 2 words. No, seriously, what do you think of the win?
Well,
actually, let's go back. They lost by 25 goals, whatever it was, last week against Geelong at whatever Geelong Stadium's called.
Shithole Stadium.
Yep. So they were always going to come out fired up. They had a couple of retirees, I think they were saying, after. Back at home, and they actually have a good record at home.
Yep,
this
7-3, I believe they were, up until that weekend.
And, being the last round, they're probably playing for some membership drive or something. They want something to hang their hat on. I imagine, like every other club for some reason. Yep. Like every other club that Fremantle supporters hate Collingwood, so I'm sure Gary Lyon through the old
I'm not even sure Fremantle supporters are aware there's a Collingwood.
Oh, well, they would be now because they lost to them. But there was a lot of incentive there for Fremantle to actually come out and put something in, unlike last week where they just switched off. So they hit us hard. And
hit him with the old P-bow.
Yep, and after a great little start where we kicked 3 goals too.
Yep.
It just all went to shit.
Yep. No, I think Pendle sort of summed it up after the game where he sort of said that I think after the 3rd goal he goes, "Ooh, shit, we're on." And then about 3 seconds later he said, "Ooh, shit, we're off."
Shit, we're on. Shit.
Well, because I think we conceded 5 in a row from there.
Something like that,
yeah, look, in some respects it was a handy little wake-up call. I think we went over there and kicked that nice little lead and thought, that's it, it's just all going to happen from here. They were shit last week, and despite the fact he said after the game they expected him to come out hard, they clearly weren't. And it just shows. And I think it can be a good positive going into finals that you just can't take any game for granted anymore. And hopefully they take this lesson into the final series and don't just go in there half-cocked. You've got to really go in right off the bat hard.
Well, as I think I said in the last episode, we get a nice little warm-up on that ground we're going to play again. When I was actually saying I think it would be better if we finished 5th, it wasn't actually a challenge to the club to finish 5th. I still wanted it to win, for people who might have misunderstood.
It was very close.
I was actually away for work, so I had to watch 3/4 of this on my phone, and then part of work function interrupted. So I had the phone out and just on the scoreboard, and I was just constantly looking at it, waiting for the updates. I saw Van kick a goal, get in front by, 7 or 8?
Yeah, it's just an arm wrestle.
Yeah, and, I got messages, game over from, other supporters, and then I saw us hit the front, and I looked at the time, I was thinking, geez, there's a lot of time left to only be 3-4 points up, and we kicked the sealer, and I watched the final quarter of the day. I don't know how we pulled it over the line.
No, there was a couple of blokes who clearly stood up when it was required.
Well, Grundy was magnificent pretty much the whole game.
Yep.
Syra and Mychek were great in that last quarter.
Yep.
Coxie did a few really nice things. Some of he's spilled a few lately, but his set shot kicking's really...
It's always been frustrating.
But it's the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's really deserted him. Whereas he was always a relatively reliable kick, he's now just spraying him. It's like he's not just missing, he's totally got that technique wrong. But he still did a few nice things. And a number of the other players, guys like Greenwood and all that, sort of chipped in when required. Varco, you mentioned, was just frenetic.
He was. He's like a pinball at the end of the game, just bouncing around off everybody.
Yep, so...
Didn't do anything, but he was just scaring the hell out of everyone.
But in the end, it's actually a great win, given the position we were in, what we had to fight for, and we probably had everything going against us going into that last quarter. You're playing a ground we haven't played before, Vera on top there, got the momentum. We've really struggled for goal kickers that whole game, and we've managed to pull
one out of the clacker.
Any final thoughts about this game?
No, we won. We got the 4 points. We're third in the ladder. It's about finals now.
Yep. So we're going to be right back with Medium Acidic. Welcome to Medium Acidic. So Collingwood's been in the news for some of the wrong reasons.
Have they? What would they be this week?
So Sam Murray, obviously. I just read a few articles. Gerard Watley asked if there's cultural issue at Collingwood.
Yeah, and who's that other ass clown? Corns.
Kane Corns.
He waffled the same rubbish. Unbelievable.
Jeremy Howe came out really fired up. Said, I was listening to the radio. I'm a big fan of what is it, 1,116?
SEN.
Nah. And I heard that suggestions Collingwood has a cultural issue, and I got instantly real frustrated. Howe told SEN Afternoons. You can't make comments like that from the outside the four walls when you don't really know internally what is going on. Gerard Watley took umbrage with this. He said, well, he's getting frustrated, but, we have the right to ask the questions.
It's just propagating shit.
It is pretty much propagating shit. Sam Murray's a new player to the club. We don't know if he's brought this from somewhere else, which, could have possibly been mentioned. If it's just, a total one-off act of stupidity or whatever the case is.
Pretty much that's it. I mean, I think there's no denying that the bulk of clubs that have this sort of thing happen. And this is the levels of
shit
imbalance with this. Look, it's a dumb act. Shouldn't have done it in the first instance. They should know better. But boys are stupid at that age. We were that age once. Well, actually, a long time ago, judging by the size of our clothing
muscles
from previous era. But this happens, and I'm no doubt it happens across other clubs.
I'm sure it does.
And the stupidity of it that I find in terms of the imbalance is that if you self-report this during the week, you get a fine.
Yeah.
You do it on game day, and that's the dumb part, because I think they're educated about how long this stays in the system, blah, blah, blah. But the penalty is just obscenely poles apart, and that's the bit that I just don't understand.
Well, the thing I actually really hate, Lockie Keith and Josh Thomas got 2 years. The whole Essendon football team got 1 year. I don't know why they got such a limited penalty. I don't know if they included time served or being a shit club or something. Collingwood player again, and now they're starting to talk about 4 years. And it's like, really? That's the penalty for... I mean, maybe he's a repeat offender and they got him on 2 prior offences and all that sort of stuff. And that's why it's going to be a harsh penalty, but it really seems excessive.
It does. For one dumb moment, your whole career is essentially... stopped or put on hold, or it just seems like too harsh a penalty, especially when it's not, if it's whatever he alleged took, it ended up being cocaine. Where's the performance enhancing inside of it? You don't see it. He hasn't been performance enhanced the last few weeks. Not. So it just doesn't sort of ring true to me. But what will we know? Yeah, well, we're just a couple of idiots in front of a green screen.
Sorry, I can't answer that comment because I'm taking performance-enhancing beer. Can Brodie Grundy win the Brownlow?
Well, I did mention this last week that I thought he'd be certainly up there. No, they'll give it to Mitchell from Hawthorn because he gets a lot of meaningless stats, and it all comes down to being a numbers game.
He's in front of the Crangers,
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, they won't look at that part. It's a midfielder's award. Look, I think he's deserving to be up there. I think in terms of the highest poll getter for the Woods, I think he'll be it. In terms of consistency across the year, he won't get threes all the way through, obviously, but he'll get a lot of ones and twos as well. He'll be certainly in the mix. Okay, and he would be a well-deserved winner if he did, by the way.
Because we've talked about the Grundy versus Gawn battle. So I did look this up. Grundy, 174 kicks, Gawn 180. So that's pretty even. Marks, 80 to 102, relatively even. Handballs, Grundy 284 to 179, so it's massively ahead there. And that probably ties in with the clearances. Grundy's 120 clearances, 10th in the AFL, which is really high for a ruckman.
He's a midfielder trapped in a ruckman's body.
And Grundy's only 58, so Gawn's only 58, so Grundy's massively ahead there. Hit-outs, though, Grundy is 847, he's second. Gawn is 1,000. He's first. I don't know who relieves Gawn in the ruck at Melbourne's at Peterson. Who knows? Who cares?
No idea.
Scores. Grundy has 8-8. Gawn has 11-11. So that's relatively even. inside 50s, 56 to 53, rebounds 25 to 30. And this is another interesting one. Tackles. Grundy is 116. Gawn is 54.
What a soft cock.
So you look at the things that Grundy's ahead in. They are those midfielder type things: clearances, handballs, tackles, and Gawn's playing traditionally more as a ruckman. So if you were picking a team to represent Australia against the might of Ireland, who would you take as your ruckman, Grundy or Gawn?
Oh, Gawn, because he doesn't wear a Collingwood jumper.
Okay, that's a good point. Well, but Grundy's been magnificent.
Oh, he has.
And it's good that he's actually getting recognition, because sometimes it takes about 9 years of players at Collingwood to be recognised. I recall that Mike Sheehan took about 12 years to put Nathan Buckley at number 1 in his top 50. And Sheehan's defence was Buckley had never played finals, so he couldn't judge him.
No, that's fair enough.
Yeah, really.
What a dud Robert Flower was.
Bob Skilton, terrible player. Yeah. Terrible player.
How many Brownlows didn't he win?
Yeah, he didn't. Why would he win them? He never played finals. No. Tim Watson poses Collingwood.
Is he like this?
Tim Watson poses Collingwood could benefit the most from the bye. He did say Collingwood and GWS, who both have the most injured players, but he did prioritise Collingwood because GWS doesn't sell newspapers or copy or clickbait.
I have to
or
say,
anything to memberships to GWS fans. Kebabs, nothing. They sell nothing, really.
Is
this club still around? Oh, sorry.
In previous years, I thought this bye was the biggest crock of shit going around.
No,
but
this is
the greatest thing I've seen. I mean, this is benefiting us through the roof.
Yep.
I mean, it helped Footscray a couple of years back when they had all
Bulldogs.
those blokes come in. What are they called this week?
Don't you dare objectify.
Sons of the Western Derbies.
Yep.
So they won a flag on the back of some of the massive ins they got back from injury. I'm not saying history will repeat, but it's certainly going to benefit us on a couple of blokes.
The one thing when Bulldogs won the flag, I think the two teams that won the first week in the top 4, and then they had a week's rest and they came back to the prelim.
It breaks you. Because I think one of the Scott from Geelong said we played one game in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
or
4 weeks.
Might have been...
one game in 28 days, I think it was.
Someone said it.
And you can see both Geelong, they got overrun by Sydney, and GWS took a while to get going against Bulldogs and the umpires. But I think because that happened, and I remember Alistair Clarkson came out last year, he goes, well, if someone wins it from the bottom 4 again, you're going to find clubs that want to finish top 4 because of that reason. I do think the clubs, the top 4, are probably going to be better prepared to handle that.
Yeah. But
I don't know how well. But in terms of the bye, and we'll talk about this more later, Goldsack and Appleby both played in the VFL. I don't know if Appleby is someone they would really rush back, given his inexperience. Treloar could play next week in the VFL.
Actually, has the rules changed in that? Because I thought that you had to play X amount of games to qualify for VFL finals.
Yes, I have no idea what the rules are. It might be X amount of games, or you could, if once you play a maximum amount of AFL games, then you don't qualify.
I thought that because otherwise you could, because conceivably the whole point of it, I think, was
so you can't drop senior players.
Yeah, if you senior team hadn't played,
or
maybe that's the exclusion.
The club down to the VFL.
Yeah, then you couldn't just top up your VFL side with all your AFL stars. I thought that was the reason for keeping it, but there might be something to do with injuries or something. Maybe someone more learned than us, which is probably the entire world, can write a comment down below and tell us about it.
Or it could be that Collingwood was applied for an exemption for some reason, because there must be special circumstances like this, or a player's missed quite a...
or maybe he's going to wear a false moustache. I hear they go down well.
Yes. And I was looking at our defensive back 6-7. Langdon on 76 games. I thought Langdon, he wasn't his greatest game, but I didn't really notice when he was on Taberner, he really seemed nervous about the size and about getting manhandled. And he, as a man-on-man player, Langdon tends to play a little bit loose and then come in, hopefully, to mark.
He does love Foreigner.
Yeah. But against someone as big as Taverner, his probabilities just get pushed out of it. Jack Magnan, 4 games. Nathan Murphy, 2 games. Braden Maynard, 69 games. Crispy, 106. Adam Oxley, 34. I couldn't believe it was that many. And Appleby, if he came back, was on 9 games. So it's an extremely inexperienced defence. Undersized defence also. They've battled manfully, but watching the Fremantle game, every time the ball went forward, I was worried that Taberner was just going to take a mark. He was looking like Buddy Franklin, no disrespect to
Buddy Franklin.
But I was really worried. You worry about that with West Coast, given their height.
That's going to be it, but we'll touch on that, but that's my major fear.
Brody Grundy, Scott Pendlebury, Still side bottom, and Jordan DeGoey are all in the AA squad.
Alcoholics Anonymous.
Well, hopefully at Collingwood.
Maybe it's a cultural problem.
Yep, could be. Just out of curiosity, it's an All-Australian squad. Is that why they've excluded Mason Cox?
Yeah, he did tweet today about he's waiting for the All-American squad to come out.
Yeah, I think he could be captain.
Smart move.
So those 4 players have made the AA squad. To be honest, I didn't think Pendle's really had an AA squad year.
No, I think there are just some that have to be picked.
Yep. So I'd be surprised if he's in the team. I know I'm going to be in the minority. I don't think Slidey had an AA squad year. He's had some good games. I don't think he had an AA squad year.
Who was the other one?
The Goey. And
Yeah,
Grundy.
probably hasn't played enough, but Grundy would obviously be a definite one. He could be like Waterboy or something. Who's the guy who brings the oranges out?
Well, the water boy. The Goey though is like when he has an impact, it's noticeable. So I wouldn't be surprised if he polls quite a few votes in the Brownlow.
Yep.
Grundy has won the Herald Sun Player of the Year.
What do you get?
A free car. I don't know. What do you get?
Probably a subscription to some toilet paper.
Could you get Mark Robinson's job? That would be good. That would be fun. I'm not asking a lot, am I? One a vote ahead of Tom Mitchell.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Really?
They did give Tom Mitchell a vote to lodge, but he gave it to the wrong person. And Max Gawn also 1 vote ahead. Here's something really interesting.
Just on that, the Coaches Association Awards come out. I know whether you've covered that, but
no, I don't.
Gawn won that and Grundy came 4th.
No,
I imagine Mitchell came 2nd.
I can't take that seriously.
Did the coaches vote on that one?
Yeah, well, you seen some of the coaches?
Yeah, that's true. Contested
marks for the year. Jerry McGovern, 59. Max Gawn, 50. Guess who came 3rd with 49?
Would it be Jared Blair?
Yes, you got that. Let's move on to the next segment.
It would be Coxie, surely.
Coxie, yep. Which is an amazing effort.
Considering how many he drops each week.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to... I agree with Robert Walls. I don't think the big fella's going to make it.
No. And Robert Walls in authority on not making it.
Has he said anything in the last...
Robert Walls?
Yeah, 16 weeks or however long it is?
No, I think they just plug him in now and he just sort of... He's like a jukebox. He winds up, plays some old stuff and then goes back to sleep again.
Go back to Coxie. Coxie's only on 30 games or something. Come from another country, pick up the game and have the impact he has in like his first real full year. Let's think it's about his 3rd year or 4th year. It's an amazing accomplishment. And, he's taking marks. He's really scaring opposition. I thought the Fremantle game, they kept congratulating that Michael Johnson for nudging him under the ball. I was thinking, is that actually pushing? But apparently not. I don't understand the rules. Jason Dunstall explained the rules to me. Apparently, if you push with a hand, it's a push. But if you push with a forearm, it's okay. I want someone that just karate kick someone in the back, fling him 28 feet, and then just have his defence. I didn't use the hands. That was fine. You played the game. How do you not know the rules?
It was a different era.
Oh, God. But it's amazing what Coxie's done, and he's continuing to grow as a player. Hopefully not in height because they won't be able to fit him on planes.
We love a big Cox. Is that what you're trying to say?
I will not stand for that joke.
I just said a symbol.
Last 8 top teams versus each other in 2018. So Sydney is 8-3 against the top 8.
Oh, good on them.
Richmond is 7-2. So Richmond only played the top 8.
We should probably just give them the flag now, then, shouldn't we?
I don't understand. I mean, Richmond, you would have thought they would have had a tough draw being the premier, finishing first.
No, apparently not.
Nope. So Sydney had 11 games, Richmond's had 9, West Coast has had 9, they're 6-3, Hawthorn has had 9, they're 5-4, Geelong has had 11, they're 5-6, GWS has had 9, they're 3-6, Melbourne is at 8, they're 2-6, Collingwood is at 8, they're 1-7.
Hang on a second. Melbourne are being talked up this week as being close to flag favourites now, all of a sudden, because they won a game. And they've only won 2 games against the top 8 sides. Yeah. Is that what you're saying? And we're a laughing stock already because we only won 1?
Well, if we're the laughing stock...
A larking stock.
A larking stock. If we're the larking... Doc Larkins. If we're the Doc Larkin stock... no, if we're the laughing stock, then what's that make Melbourne? Because they're the one team who lost to us. Not just lost, they got smashed. But actually...
that never happened, though.
No.
Because we've beaten nobody.
But you gave me this stat, and then I was really interested in...
It should be good then.
Yep. I looked at it a little bit closer. When we played Sydney, we lost Darcy Moore early in the game. We played Richmond twice. In the first game, in the 3rd quarter, we lost Ace Gray, Grundy and Maynard. Grundy and Maynard came back on, but they really struggled. And then Maynard didn't play for the next 6 weeks or whatever it was. And Grundy was not as dominant in the next 3 weeks. He must have been carrying something, and we lost Reed toward the end of the game.
Reed?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Are we on the right year?
And the second game, we lost Jeremy Howe in 20 minutes into it. Then we lost Scharenberg, so the two key defenders. Some Richmond twats think losing two key defenders shouldn't impact your performance at all. Twat! Versus West Coast, Coxie was a late withdrawal.
We were.
Versus Hawthorn, we lost Josh Smith, and admittedly that's probably not a big loss, but it was round one, so there's going to be a little bit of leeway. Versus Geelong, Pendles was a late withdrawal. Phillips was concussed when he headbutted a goalpost. Versus GWS, Moore did a hammy very early. Broomhead broke his leg.
Did he?
Yeah. And versus Melbourne, Wells got injured, but he came back on about a quarter or two later and finished out the game, but was dominant.
Was that in a wheelchair?
It was.
Was he on the Gatorade card?
He was on one of those,
Zimmer frames.
Yeah. I don't know what it's called. Anyway, it's interesting, when we played the top 8, we had issues in every game with players going out or whatever the case might be. And
But surely, though, up to that point of those injuries, we were getting smashed in those games, weren't we?
Oh, we're getting smashed in all. I mean, we definitely weren't dominating Sydney at any point.
And Richmond, we weren't taking it to Richmond twice.
No.
And West Coast, I believe, we were leading at the third quarter when some of those injuries happened.
Well, West Coast, Cox was just a late withdrawal, so...
But we beat nobody, though.
Yeah. Geelong, you lose Pendles. And just to mention Geelong, I mean, that was a few weeks after Richmond from memory, so there was no Aish, there was no Maynard in that team also, so there was a few other injuries on top of that. And, versus GWS, second game of the year, Moore and Broom I think they both went in the first quarter, so you're 2 men down straight away. So I just thought it was actually interesting if you actually look at the games, and people go, oh, well, if you're good enough, you'll win anyway. It's like, well, if you lose players in the modern game, you don't have those rotations, then how well are you going to do it? If you look at that Richmond game, that second time we played them, not to diminish Richmond's RC effort.
Although, just quietly, Melbourne lost about 3 blokes on the weekend and smashed the GWS.
But GWS has got half the squad out.
Well, that's the thing, they're shit.
But against Richmond, you lose Howe straight away, and then you lose Scharenberg. So that's 2 of your key defenders, and you then have this really inexperienced squad against the Premiership forwards. So I just found that really interesting that, you've got to look at things in context.
Perspective.
Yep. I looked at our wins and losses for the year. Mm-hmm. When we lose, we average 68 points.
Oh.
And the opposition averaged 93.5 points. When we win, we average 104 points.
Ooh. And
the opposition average 69.5.
Suffering your jocks.
Now, I think if you look at the scores in our losses, their total scores of 67, 79, 70, 45, 67, 77, 71.
And what's the supplementary number?
I
think I've got it.
But they're all around that margin. Besides that Geelong one, which was really low, they're all around that 10, 12 goal margin. Mm-hmm. And I think if you look at most of those games, you'll find that's probably when our multiple forwards have... usually when we've won, one of those multiple forwards has come out and kicked the bag.
We have multiple Fordgasms.
Yeah. But in those cases, I don't think it really happened. I think Richmond was the only game where Josh Thomas kicked 4. And then looking at our wins, I was actually impressed by this. In the first 5 wins, we scored 100, 106, 101, 121, 100. Then we played Bulldogs. We scored 90. Then we played Fremantle, 138. Melbourne, 133. Then we had the bye, and I found this really interesting.
Did we win that one?
The bye? Yes.
Oh.
We won by 1 point because someone kicked and hit the post, and nobody was there to kick it in. So the game just, finished. After the bye, we played Carlton, we only scored 79. We played Gold Coast, we scored 99. We played Essendon, we scored 78. So we seemed to have lost our mojo for a bit. So we played North, scored 130. Brisbane, 104. Port, 115. And then Fremantle back down to 76. So I just thought it was interesting that when we're winning, we seem to be winning relatively comfortable and finding multiple avenues to goal. When we're losing, that's when that forward setup isn't really working. And none of those mid-sized forwards are chipping in and kicking the bags and getting other guys, off the hook so they can score also. But that's medium mephitic. Any additions, Spook?
No. It's going to be good to have a bit of a break from media for a couple of weeks and just get steeled for the next segment.
Yep. So we'll be back with the match preview.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Would that be a final game?
Again. So we'll be right back. So we're back with the match preview 2 weeks early. Okay, this is not really a preview, it's match speculation. So we have a break this week.
Did we run the simulation on the Rant mega computer?
Yes, we did, and we found we had to forfeit because 28 guys got injured doing hammies, climbing up the stairs onto the plane.
And the computer died.
Yep, it did a heartstring. What do you think about the ins and outs? So, no one... Hoskin Elliott hurt his knee, but no one's reported how bad it is yet.
He'll be alright.
It is just a knock, so that's probably 4 to 6 weeks, unfortunately.
46 weeks?
46. That's AFL evolution injury. 46 weeks. But you're looking at how should be fit. He trained very well. Trelaw has been cleared to go to full training, so he's there in the mix. Goldsack played about half a game or something in the VFL. The VFL plays this week against Essendon, so those guys like Goldsack and Appleby and that can get another game into them. So what changes would you look at? We did talk about West Coast forward, tall forward line, petrifying forward line for what we have in defence at the moment.
Yeah, I mean...
You'd really need a game like when we played North, and Moore went out late. We had a smallish defence, but we just dominated the midfield so much.
Well, that's going to have to be the code again. We need to win that midfield battle and win it exceptionally well. We need to be on fire right from the outset. Gaff's a massive out for them. He killed us last time. So it's, again, it's about...
Ironically, that's why he's out.
It's about denying the supply, I think. If you don't kick it to those two big problems, they're not a problem anymore.
No.
But having said that, Howe obviously has to come back in. I think probably at the expense of Murphy. I think he'll be ragdolled. Anyone's going to be ragdolled by those two bigs. We don't have a great win record with Mooten more on the side, but if he was fit in 2 weeks' time, and that's a big if, you'd have to look at seriously bringing him in.
Someone suggested if Moore's fit, we should play him forward and Myercheck down back.
I don't think you want to mess with that forward line, though.
I don't think you want to mess with Myercheck. He's been amazing.
Even more down back, you're sort of worried about upsetting the apple cart down there. But I just think that really mental, frenetic running that he does get to a lot of contests could help. If he holds up for more than 10 minutes, that is.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue. If Moore was fit and they were confident he's going to hold up, then I would do further drug testing at Collingwood to make sure their thinking's clear. But if they are, I'd actually play him on the wing and just say, we want you to drop back as often as possible and just cut off those leads.
Cut off your hamstrings.
That's the problem. But just do something a little bit left field. I don't like the way under Buckley's tenure, and then I think it's really changed. Our best defender gets the best forward. Now, if you look at Hawthorn in their premiership years. Brian Lake would usually get the best forward, but that Josh Gibson, they'd always engineer a mismatch so you could come third man in. Dustin Fletcher, same thing at Essendon, come third man in. You want your really good defenders to be free to do that, to cut off leads, to be the third man up, to take intercept marks and all that. When you're playing Howe and more also, like the Kennedy or whoever the case might be, then you're telling him that's where you got to stay pretty much. Yeah. And I just actually think that undermines the side. And that's why, guys like Fletcher and who was the other guy I mentioned? I can't remember, who cares. But that's why guys like Fletcher and Gibson were so damaging because they had that license to roam. When the only time Fletcher played on the full forward...
Was that a Bond movie?
No, that was License to Swill. The only time Fletcher made up a full forward is when the full forward got a hold of Essendon and then Sheedy finally made the move back. But otherwise, he was just counter-attacking, kicking long, setting up, forward thrust and all that. So I'd like to see something like that, to see something a little bit left field. I've said it before, big if, but if he thinks he's physically capable of doing it, I would seriously play Sack. I would look at him as...
a ragdoll?
But he's now, in terms of the fitness of the defenders... or the fit defenders, he's the biggest, strongest defender you got.
He wouldn't last a game, no, I don't think.
Well, that's the problem.
I don't think I mean that in terms of be injured. I think he'd be knackered.
Well, that's the problem. But you got to look at also, Andrew Cracker did this in 2012. He got injured in the pre-season. He came back in the finals, kicked 4 goals against Hawthorn. Hopefully, because he'd be playing Sack at full-back, he's not going to have that, that requirement to run huge mileage.
You can guarantee the West Coast will be very... Kennedy Darling conscious, so they'll be going to him as often as they can.
But
they have got a number of damaging little annoying forwards and Rioli
is a good player. But the other thing too, you got to look at Kennedy's not entirely fit either. So
yeah, I mean, he was pretty fit the one game he came back for to sink us.
But as I said, if Goldsack is fit, I would seriously try him because I think it's like you're gonna have to play some sort of Hail Mary, and you really that inexperience of the defence is a massive concern. It really is.
It's going to be exposed when it comes down there, that's for sure. And
this is what I like about Sack. Sack's he's a physical player. He's got experience. He'll hit bodies and all that. I like Magden as a prospect, but geez, going to the finals as he playing the 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, it's admirable what he's done, but yeah, he's going to be found out against West Coast for certain.
Yeah. So they're the sort of guys I'd be looking at. The other guy I'd be looking at too.
Blair.
Close for Solo.
You stack Blair on his shoulders.
Well, that'd be 1.5 players. For Solo, I'd look at maybe playing forward and bringing Varco down back and getting some run out of defence.
A pinball defence.
Yeah. Varco's quick. He's actually, he's a hard player.
He's also due to do a hamstring though.
Yeah, that's the worry. But I just look at it, think maybe they can rejig a little bit and think a bit more laterally than just sort of saying, all right, we can't fit for Solo because we're filled with mid-sized forwards. So let's just look at who we can bring in down back. So I don't want to, obviously they could play McClarty or something, but the point of this exercise should be to be injecting experience, not taking what little experience there is out and putting in someone even less experienced.
That's the deep end of the deep ends to bring McClarty in. I'm not totally against it, but it's a big, too big a ask, I think.
Well, if they haven't brought him in, if they've brought in Magda, they've promoted him from the rookie list ahead of McClarty, then they mustn't think McClarty's ready.
No.
For whatever reason. I mean, I'm a bit annoyed. Like, I see people who watch the VFL going, I don't think he's going to be that good. It's like, geez, maybe give him a chance to play a game or two.
There's a few blokes running around the senior teams that probably would have been written off as well.
Yeah. No, I think there's more than a few. But I think they need to think a little bit more laterally. In a plus column, the last time we played them, we dominated them for about 15 minutes. We wasted our opportunities in terms of scoring opportunities. I mean, every time they went forward, they looked dangerous. The amount of times we just kicked it straight to McGovern, like he was on our side and we're picking him out, was annoying. And Coxie wasn't in that game, so we've got a target here. And, I don't think we lost in such a way in that first game that with a little bit of rejigging, having Cox back in the side, that we can't turn the tide.
I just don't want to see any long bombings for all our inside 50s. It's really that sort of game where you got to lower the eyes and find someone on the lead.
The other thing too is
if you can get space and lead, that is.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was going to say is instead of bombing it, I know not every player's capable of it, just kick it a bit lower and flatter, so it's getting there quicker and it's not giving opposition defenders that time to get in position and thump it away.
Because we do kick it to that hole every time.
Oh, geez, and some of the kicking, it's just been a symbol of Collingwood over the last 5-6 years. They even did it under Malthouse. It's just mindless.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, it is indicative. You've seen it all year too. That whenever the pressure is applied a little bit too much in the middle, that we do resort to that. We do all the work to run it up there and then just bomb it.
Now, if we win this, we have a bye. So that'll be interesting from another perspective of then you have guys like Treloar and Howe and all that who have that one game possibly in 3-4 weeks.
I think with Treloar, you roll the dice, no dramas.
Yep. But it's just a case of he's only going to get that one game, he's going to take another break, so he doesn't really get to build on that fitness base and all that.
He can build up his fitness in the grand final.
Yeah, but if you go back to 2011, you had Heath Shaw miss half the year because of that betting scandal, and then you had Daisy miss, I think he got 2 weeks for that hit. I can't remember who he hit. It was a Fremantle player. And I think he ended up missing 3 weeks because we got the buy and all that sort of stuff. And when they came in, they looked like they were really struggling for the pace of the game. Heath Shaw was definitely blowing hard. So that's going to be another concern too. If we lose, we'll play the winner of GWS Sydney here at the MCG.
Well, then you roll the dice. It becomes that all or nothing equation then.
And if they, you'd be relatively confident that you should beat either of those teams here. You'd hope. Providing we don't get another 9 injuries in the qualifying final. Any final thoughts about the...
No, I guess the thing is, and I don't know whether it's a popular or unpopular opinion, but it's been one hell of a ride this year, Woods. Whatever happens from here on in the finals, it's almost a miracle that we got here. I think we just sit back and just you know, we do what we do and we win what we win, and some of this is just going to be about experience.
Yeah, totally agree. I don't often just sort of say, hey, I enjoyed the season for the sake of the season. I think if you're there, then you got to really look at it as we're a chance.
Yep.
But this season, given the adversity, the injuries, the turnover of players, and all that sort of stuff, I think it's amazing they've got on this far. I'm really proud of them. Wouldn't usually say that if we got no, but I am actually really proud of them. And it bodes well for the future. Just hopefully that if this is as far as we go, just the finals, and we don't win a flag or anything, we can build on it next year. We're not someone that just falls away.
Yeah, it's a polite way of saying if we go out the straight sets, it's all right.
It's all right, but then you got to
don't do it again next year.
Just don't do it this year. Make me happy.
Yeah, just win the flag.
But yeah,
we're always happy that much.
Yeah,
it's just a little thing.
Yep,
just 3 more games.
Yeah,
three
more.
Kiss it in.
I think you can do it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who... Oh, you know what I actually love to do? I love to win the flag, and I love everyone to come out, all the opposition sports go, but they only got there because they had a shit draw. And you know what? Yes. As I've said elsewhere, at the end of the year, if I was Collingwood President Eddie Maguire, Collingwood admin...
You mean you're not?
I am not. If I was Collingwood President Eddie Maguire, I would be lobbying the AFL for a priority pick.
You wouldn't be sitting here in this room doing this either.
No, I would be lobbying the AFL for a priority pick. Why waste it on someone like Carlton? They're just going to squander it.
Hang on a second. You mean we'd be drafting Robbo?
No.
Oh. You did say priority prick, didn't you? Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah. We should be saying, AFL, you need us up there. We draw the ratings, we draw the crowds,
we draw the fanaticism. You want us on that wall.
You want us. Give us priority. Give us picks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Sensors working overtime.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it from us. We will be back in 2 weeks, I believe.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Hopefully with good news. And if it's not good news, then we blame Robbo.
And get ready for a surprise.
So, go Pies.
Go Woods. Come on, you can do it. Ow.
See you next week. Or 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
Bye.